Okay.
Okay, so we're looking at inverse functions now in this new small video. So an inverse function reverses the effect of a function. The inverse of f of x is written as f of minus 1 of x. Like when we do sine of x is sine of minus 1 of x. It's the same kind of style. Now, so they've got the question out there at the top, g of x equals 7x plus 1. What I want to do, let's just do ourselves fresh. Give me a second while I get myself. Where's the question gone? 17.3. Are we there? Yeah, I think we're there. So let me add a page. And hopefully it'll be the same style. Just copy out this part of the question. Okay. So they're showing us by doing they got a function machine set up, and then they're reversing it from the function machine. Copy, paste. Okay, well, I don't want that one. I wanted this one. Give me a second. Let's try that once more. Okay, what's happening? Copy. That's better. That's what I wanted. So which method have you learned in school, Ismail?
You make g of x equal to basically replace it with the y, and then you solve for x.
Okay, lovely. So what we do here, we change the g of x, which is the function, the kind of the wording, the function kind of symbols, and we change it back to old school. Remember I said it before, g of x is just a fancy word of just saying y. So we go back to old school. Everything is here, stays the same, but we need to make, pay attention please everybody, write those notes down. We need to make x the subject. Make x the, at the moment y is the subject. Currently y is the subject. So y is the subject at the moment, which is the f of x part. But we need to make x the subject. Okay, so in order for us to make x the subject, right, how would you go about doing it from first principles? So rather than,
you have to get rid of the bracket first, so you have to multiply by 2.
Okay, now don't forget you're having brackets. You mentioned about brackets with me. So when we're making x the subject, we go back to our basic ideas of starting at the x. So you start at the x, that's the first step. What's the second step?
Multiply by 7.
You identify the actions. And what's the third step? You solve in reverse order. Or in this case, just rearrange in reverse order. So you got those three things, starting at x, identifying the actions, and reversing. Okay, and I don't even think you can even read that there. I think I need to go for thinner pen. Identify, that's better. You can at least read it. All right, so what's the first action?
You start at x.
The first action is?
Multiply by 7.
What's the second action?
Plus 1.
What's the third action?
Divide by 2.
Okay, that's first, second, third. I'm not doing anything new here, folks. This is old school rearranging equations at the moment. I'm not doing anything new here. There's nothing special for inverse functions. We are just doing straightforward rearranging the equation, making x the subject now. So which one do I move first? So that's the order in which they're in. So do I do now which one first?
The third one.
Yes, that's why you start and go backwards. So we've done the order going down, but we're going to be solving it or rearranging it in the reverse order. So rearranging in reverse. Okay, so opposite of divide by 2 is?
Multiply by 2.
Times by 2. So we're going to have here
2y.
2y is equal to 7x add 1. What's next?
Minus 1.
Is opposite of add 1 is minus 1. So we have 2y minus 1 equals 7x. What do we do next?
You divide by 7.
The time by 7 gets done last. Opposite time by 7 is?
Divide by 7.
Divide by 7. So we have now here 2y minus 1 divided by 7 is equal to x. So the first part is that we got to make x the subject. We change the g of x into y. So them are the things that we've done. So number one, we've done. So you change your function into y. So g of x, f of x, what are they giving you? You change it into y. Number two, you make x the subject, which we've done. That's like straightforward rearranging. What do we do next now?
Where it says 2, where it says y, you make that x. So just write 2x minus 1 over 7.
Absolutely. So what we do now, we swap them. So swap the x for y. So we got so the y is going to come out and the x is going to go in there. So they become 2. I'll do that in a red x. Put the rest in back into black. Okay, now what do we do with the x that was here?
Yeah, you're right. G to the inverse, g inverse bracket x.
Absolutely, g minus 1 of x. So them are the 4 kind of mini steps that we're doing. 4 mini steps are, and then we change. Okay, so first of all, we're swapping an x into the y, and where the x actually originally is, that has a big swap. So we change the x subject into the inverse function. So it could be like f of minus 1 of x. It could be n of minus 1 of x. So it's not going to be all the time g into the inverse function. So we've got these 4 little mini steps going on, and then we've actually finished. So remember, folks, we actually started way up here. So the question started here. That's what they told us g of x is equal to. And then we got all the way down to the bottom, which is here, which is the final answer. Now, don't worry about it being written slightly back to front. For example, we got the actual function equals g minus 1. And so this part starts first, and then it goes to that part. It doesn't really matter how you write it, but okay. So we change the g of x to y. We make x the subject. And then once we've made x the subject, then we swap the y for the x. And then we change the x that was the subject into our inverse function. So them are the 4 little mini steps that we need to remember when we are doing these questions. Thank you for that, Ismail. Let's have a go at another example. Okay, so that's the one that was their example question, which ours matched their answer. Let's try to find something a little bit. Right, let's pick another question. Okay. Copy. Salia, join me in this one. So we have to find g minus 1 of x. So g minus 1 of x. We do not know what that is. We need about that. What do we do first?
So first, you're gonna do plus 1, and you do minus 1.
So the g of x, what do we do the first step? What was the first step? Look. Take the phone. That's our lesson. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Let's get Salih back here. Come on, Salih, hurry up.
Plus 1.
Okay, so g of x, what do we replace it by?
X.
By y.
Oh.
Look at the steps on top.
Okay. So
Then what do we do?
That would make x the subject, so you would do instead of plus 1, you do minus 1.
Okay, you haven't even gone through the steps. So you start at x, you identify the actions, divide by 8 is the first action, add 1 is the second action. Which one should we move first?
We'll do the second option first.
So
plus 1 and minus 1.
So we have y minus 1 is equal to x over a. What do we move next?
We would do, instead of divided by a, we would do times by a.
Okay, so let me write it down what I think the answer is. Okay, and then you tell me if that's okay for us to move on to the next page. Look at my answer. And tell me if that, I don't know, is that okay, yeah?
Yeah.
That's okay. All right, okay, I'll just have a quick pause there. Everybody can write a little comment in the chat. Solly goes, I've done that, okay.
No, then you have to move. Yeah.
No, stop there for Solly. That step, I'm not talking about the next step. Right. Okay, everybody, please tell me if Ismail saying that's fine. Okay, lovely. Everybody else, can you just tell me if I've stopped there at that point? Is everything correct up to that point? Quickly, I want a comment back from each person, please. Okay, so now what I've done there on purposely, that's why I asked everybody to give me a feedback on whether that's correct, is it's actually not correct. When we move the divide by 8 to the other side, becomes times by 8. This here is a common student response on the exam papers. And what you have to realize, you have to multiply everything by 8. So in reality, it'll be 8 times by y and 8 times by -1. So the -1 which I wrote here is actually should be -8. Okay, I think I had somebody say that. Right, that's the x. Okay, lovely. So we've done step 1. We've changed the g of x into y. We've done step 2 by making x the subject. What do we do next? So we've done 1, we've done 2. Then
have to swap the x for y.
okay, so now we have a y in there. This y, we're going to change it into a what now? Into an x. Excellent. Let's put the rest of it back in. And then what do we change the original x into? So we've done this one as well. What do we change the x subject into? Inverse. Into the inverse function. Excellent. So the inverse of g of x is equal to what?
G minus 1.
Fantastic. And then we have finished the question. Lovely. So even though the question looks nice and straightforward, it has those 4 steps in it. Turn the g of x into y, rewrite, make x the subject. Once you made x the subject, swap the y in the answer into an x. And the x that's the subject, change that into the inverse. So we've got quite a bit of manipulation and messing about going on there. So I think what we should do, we should try some of the easier questions first of all. And let's just tear this up. So Salia, I want Salia, Aisha, and Anaya to do the orange questions. Right, so out of the 3 parts there, just indicate through the chat how many of them you actually got right. So just think of them as 3 answers. Give me some feedback, please. Okay, well done. Oh, excellent. By 6. Now, what do we do then? What do we do with the y? So once we finish an x as the subject, what do we change the y into?
You change it into x.
And then what do we change the x subject into?
G.
Into the inverse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you don't sound very kind of sure. The x that we have there gets changed into what we're actually trying to work out. That's the actual task itself. That changes into the inverse function. And then everything is finished there. Now, in this particular question, what did they want you to substitute for the x value?
6.
So then you actually got to put 6 into the equation itself. And then when you 6 minus 3, which is 3, and then you divide that by 6, so 3 over 6 will give you a half, and that question's done. Okay, are we happy with C now, Anaya?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so that's an examination question. Oh, that's nice. Okay, what do you call these things, Alia? Yorkshire puddings. Okay. Oh, okay, right. I think here we've got our class solutions. Okay. There's probably another question. Hey, I suppose I'll substitute 2 in here. Okay. Oh, there it is. There's the one. Okay, here comes the second question. And this question is a little bit more, especially the second part. The first part shouldn't be too bad. So I'm going to give you guys another 5 minutes with this exam question now. I'm trying to make it as big as I can on the screen. And you copy those out, please, and start them now. Where's the Yorkshire puddings with?
Because I have with gravy.
And then we have the right-hand side. So the question that we done earlier, the working at the inverse of x, f of x, that was quite straightforward. We swapped over the f of x for y, made x the subject. Then we swapped over the y for the x, and then we swapped over the x for the f minus 1 of x, and that one was done. The next one is that given that the fg of x equals 2g f of x, so we need to work out the left-hand side and the right-hand side of that that identity they're given us here, this bit here. So this bit is always equal to this bit. So the fg of x we are doing it right now over here. And that gives us that 3x squared plus 11. Now we need to work out 2g f of x. Let's change color. Let's change color. Let's do over here 2 times g f of x. So we got to put f of x into g, and then we have to multiply it by 2. So it's a bit what we done last week. So f of x is 3x minus 1. We're going to pick it up and put it into g. So let's get rid of the old highlighting here. And we're going to grab this bit here and we're going to put into here. So it'll be x squared add 4, and the x squared will receive the 3x minus 1. And then we have to square it and then add 4. Okay, that's the first bit. And then we're going to have to multiply it by 2 as well. Okay, so we can put a, let's get rid of this here. And let's take it back a bit and let's put the 2 in there as well, like that. So we have 3x minus 1 times by 3x minus 1, add 4. So let's have, Layla, can you help me finish off this question, please? So I've started off the second part. So it says 2g f of x. So it's similar to fg of x, but we've also got an extra 1 step of multiplying by 2 as well. 2 is outside the function. So I've kind of set the question up for you. I've put the f of x into the g of x, and then I'm going to have to multiply all of that by 2. So then we have to write the brackets out twice. So what's should we help me multiply the brackets, please?
Okay. So it's 9x squared.
So
Into bracket first.
yeah, then
9x squared, take away 3x.
and then take away another 3x, which is
6x.
and then minus 1 times by minus 1 is
1. Add 4.
okay. So if you multiply everything by 2, what do we get?
18x squared, take away 12x, add 2, add 4, which is just 6.
Add that'll be add 10.
2 add? Huh?
Because 1 add 4 is 5. 5 times by 2 is 10. Yeah.
What? Oh yeah, I didn't do that bit.
Yeah. So now this is the right hand side. Don't forget, this is the right hand side, which is here. This bit here is the left hand side, which is here. So we need to make them equal to each other. So let's make them equal to each other. So you have 3x squared plus 11 is equal to
18x squared, take away 12x, add 10.
So that's how they started us off. They said this is the left hand side, it's equal to this right hand side. Now they want us to show, if you look over here, the question show that. So we need to get to the green bit here. How do we get there? What do you think we do? So the 15x squared looks like it's made from the 18 and the 3. How do you do it?
You take the 18, take away 3x squared. 18x squared, take away 3x squared.
So we take everything from the right to the
left.
So you said 0 equals 18x squared minus 3x squared minus 11. So that gives you 15x squared. Okay, and then we're going to have minus 12x will stay the same. And then you have 10 take away 11, which is minus 1. So does it work?
Yeah, it's correct.
Fantastic. Okay, lovely. So yeah, they had literally everything that we've done so far. Everything we've done so far today and last lesson has come all of it together in these 2 questions that we've done. So we've got some inverse bits, we've got some FG of bits, some GFF of bits, GFF of x, and we've got some doubling of the function as well, manipulation function, and then we got function equaling another function, and that gave us that. That's fantastic. That's lovely. Okay. Well, I think we should end that video here.